like,
That's
oh, we don't
sick.
have. They told me we don't have new cases for you. I was like, oh, okay, sad. Well, we have a new computer. All right. Chat F5. Type in chat F5. I'm type. If it works again. Maybe it should be better. Like Chrome, I closed everything I could from Chrome.
Yeah, it's back.
I'm gonna be opening only when I need them, I guess.
Call him a
I'm
spy.
gonna need only. Julia, close Emu. Shut up. Jamos. Just stop recording. So, are you watching the screen share that I do here, or are you watching from stream?
I'm
Screen
watching
share.
the
Screen share.
Well, it's not
yes,
showing right
yeah.
now, but yeah.
I can't see
No.
prediction though.
Okay, I'm gonna
It's
then
dead.
here.
Okay, there we go.
Back.
We're back.
Oh, here, like this. Oh no. Here.
Oh, dead again.
Okay. This okay.
Mm.
Now you can see. No, you cannot see. Here you can see.
I
You can see.
We can see.
You can see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Welcome back, chat. Welcome back. Sorry. Still technical difficulties. Sorry. Well, we can still go on. We got this. Holy. What were we doing? Oh, we were doing the fourth question
yeah,
with
the last
food.
The fourth question. Yeah.
Yes.
Skip it.
The fourth question with food.
Yeah,
It's
you
the one
already
that
said
actually- is the one that Air might not be able to answer because is underage to me.
Like I won't be able to spell it?
No.
Oh, what do you mean? I drank earlier today.
You should not. You're underage. You're 17.
I'm 23.
I.
The question is.
Right, someone thought that I was 27 earlier today.
The question is.
Hmm.
What do you
I
call?
don't know this.
I don't know.
I have no idea what this is.
How do
I
you
don't
call
know.
a
I have
cocktail
no
consisting of tequila, triple sec, and lime juice? Anyone has any idea?
What's a sec?
Triple sec. It's a liquor.
I don't know.
Okay.
Wow, I got
Holy
this.
shit.
There's tequila. So take a guess.
What do you think it could be?
I actually have no clue.
I
No clue.
think I am.
No fucking clue.
What?
I think it's
If everyone gets it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
can we just establish that this is way out of our league and you're out of pocket for putting this in here?
I did the
do, like,
gazpacho
two
thing.
options? Can we do like eliminate two options or something?
Wait, how did Liz?
I don't know if this is right, but this is the only thing that comes to mind.
Trust yourself. Trust
I'm not.
yourself.
No, I don't trust myself. I'm so...
Okay,
Okay.
if we're like relatively close,
How
Mhm.
about
You give it,
vote
right?
skip? Vote skip all of us and we just skip it.
Depends.
Yeah. Can we agree
Okay.
about that? Can we all agree about that?
We will
we all have
see.
to vote though. I'm not voting. I'm all in. I think I got this.
Really?
Nah.
Wait,
I'm
hold
voting.
on.
Okay.
If there isn't any other cock, I don't know.
I can't see
Hopefully
G
I got it.
anymore.
You cannot see me?
What? I can.
See,
You can.
we can see you.
I
We can see
don't
you.
know.
Oh my god.
I don't
Fuck.
know.
Chat, would you
I
know?
just.
no
I
idea.
think.
Can I just forfeit?
You're scared of having your first
Even
mistake, huh?
sometimes.
You're
I
scared of
I only
having-
know like 2 cocktails names anyway.
No idea? Chat, you don't
Trust me,
know?
first X ain't a big deal.
Chat, I'm sure that everyone knows.
Can we vote skip?
No.
Well, I
Or-
studied in Cyprus. I'm trusting on this one.
I think that once
I
I tell
honestly
you the
cannot
name,
see G,
everyone
but do I
knows
need
this
to leave and
cocktail.
come back
Everyone
again?
knows this cocktail.
Wait, everyone does?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what is a cocktail?
What?
What is a cocktail?
It's a mixed drink.
It's a mix. It's just a mix.
Yeah,
Mixed
it's like a
alcohol.
soft,
Yeah.
like,
That's what a
like,
cocktail
like
is.
here, there's
Yes.
tequila and lime juice.
Yeah.
Like there's an alcohol and like a soft.
Yeah, but like a cocktail and like a margarita are different things.
No,
Margarita is a
a
cocktail.
margarita
okay.
is a cocktail.
Oh,
Okay.
but is it
Yes.
beer, not a cocktail then?
Beer is not a
A
cocktail.
beer is not a cocktail.
Why not?
Beer is
That's
not a
bunch
cocktail.
of shit.
Because a cocktail is a mix of more
Two,
than
Is
one
it-
they
is
have
a
to
mix
have
of drink.
alcohol and
Yeah.
a soft.
Well, not
drink
just
in it.
drinks, ingredients.
Okay.
Okay. So do you want to show
I
your
think I've got it.
answers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Show me your answers.
Should we?
Tequila Sunrise,
Tequila
Moscow. What is that? Pisco South? Bloody
Sour.
Mary.
I don't know, man.
Margarita.
I made it up.
Cosmopolitan and Margarita. Okay. One person got it right.
I need to leave and
Okay,
come back again because I have
One
a
person
I'm
got
sure
it
it's
Go for
not
it,
Bloody
go for it, go for
Mary.
it, Bubba. One person got it right. One person got it right.
Me.
Chat, first of all, starting from Bloody Mary.
Is it
What?
a...
It's not
Wait,
Bloody Mary.
what?
What do you
No,
put
it's
in a
not.
It's all
Bloody
Bloody Mary.
Bloody
What
Mary,
do you
yes.
put in a
Tomato.
Bloody Mary?
Tomato.
I
Tomato
don't
juice.
drink. I don't drink
What,
alcohol.
the-
I don't.
what is making that bloody?
Yeah.
Lime?
Yeah.
Blood. What is Bloody Mary?
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but it was not Bloody Mary. It was not.
Hey,
Bloody Mary.
hey,
I'm sorry about that.
I don't drink alcohol.
Well,
I'm sorry, Bob. Then what do you put in a Pisco Club? What the fuck is a Pisco Club?
I have
Pisco
no idea.
sour? I don't know.
Pisco sour? Pisco sour to be something with peaches.
Oh yeah,
Pisco
thanks.
and lemon.
sure.
I don't know what it was. I just heard it somewhere.
You heard
And,
it so.
and lime juice is sour.
I'm sorry, that is not it. That is not air. That's not the one. What did
I
you
didn't
write?
guess Bloody Mary.
All right. Ashkelon, what did you write?
Cosmopolitan.
What do you put in a cosmopolitan? And what
I don't
color
even
is
know.
it? Do you know what color is it?
I don't know. No, I only know the
Cosmopolitan
name.
should
It has-
be. Yep, go for it.
Isn't it pink or something? Like,
Probably,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
It's
pink lime juice.
pinkish or reddish, and it's
yeah.
what it is made with. Cosmopolitan, I think that it's definitely not tequila. It's not tequila. What there is in it? Martini. That's the one. Cosmopolitan has martini. So, Ashkelon, I'm sorry, that was not even the answer. Lizzie, what did you write?
I wrote margarita, but I was torn. Okay, so I don't drink that many cocktails.
Yeah.
But I was like, is it a mojito or is it a margarita? I don't know.
Right? Limoni
No,
Pie,
no,
what did you write?
I also wrote margarita.
Maxwell, what did you write?
Wait,
Tequila Sunrise.
What do you put in a tequila sunrise?
It's I just wrote anything because I wasn't
because
sure,
there is
but I
tequila
think
in
Tequila
it?
Sunrise. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Not
I have to tell you that
That was
is
the
your-
closest to home.
base.
I'm sorry to tell you that is your very first mistake of the day because
No.
yeah, you wanted to go clean. It is not. In a tequila sunrise, you
Yeah.
put tequila and orange juice. Tequila orange juice.
yes.
Yes.
Oh.
But Air,
Wait,
do
why
you
is
wanna
so much
Air? Do
better?
you wanna cry? Do you wanna cry a little bit?
No.
Do you know what was the
No.
answer?
What?
Do you know what was the answer?
No.
You
Tequila
said it.
sour?
You actually said it. When you asked me about what is a cocktail, you actually
Oh
said the
my
answer.
god.
Oh, it's a margarita?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought a
The
margarita was a
answer?
category of drinks. I thought that was like like meat. You know?
Okay,
What the
I was so
hell?
torn between mojito and margarita. I was like, oh my
It's
god.
actually a margarita.
I am happy.
I thought that was
I
a
am
category
happy
of
that
drinks.
The last question of the food and beverage.
Era,
That's-
you killed
that's
me when
rude.
you were like, "Oh, I know the answer." I was like, "Oh yeah, he does know." And then you showed Pisco sour. I
He
like,
was about to
"Bro."
win.
That's not right.
Julia,
Yeah.
Bob is black on
Yeah,
stream.
he knows. He said that he had
Okay.
to leave for a second because he had something to do. But also, Bob wrote
But he's
margarita.
back. That's
Bob
why.
wrote margarita. He's back. Oh. By the way, Bob, you don't need to like go
I
away
didn't
from the
get
call. You
burnt
just remove the cam, and it's gonna hide from you. If you
No, but I couldn't see you anymore. That's why I left.
Oh.
That's why I had to reconnect some my cam.
I don't know if we can see you then. Or maybe, because now you added a new thing. You have a new link. I got you. But, chat, how many of you got it? How many of you got that one right? You are the player
All of you are
number
alcoholics.
8. No, no.
Yes, I
Not
are.
many, as you can see. Not many. By the way, very proud. Very proud. Lizzie is still with 0 mistakes. 0.
I was supposed to lose that one. I was about to forfeit. I was just like, I don't know if this is right.
You did amazing. You did amazing.
We
Amazing.
can
I'm gonna
remind
lose myself in geography. Don't worry.
We can remind us the speech about the lady at the start of the game. Yes, I don't know if I have.
You're getting played by Bob.
Vote for me.
Lizzie, you're
Don't
getting
vote for
played by Bob.
I want to.
Oh my god. Pera, don't you dare touching the tree, huh? Okay, sorry. Lizzie, I would be scared. Let's see how chat did in this. Oh, Hidden and Hazem are both on second place, but the real winner
Oh.
between the two is Hidden 0-0. And then there is a contestant that did not put their name, but Hidden, thank you so much for winning. Good job. Proud of you.
Good job.
Proud of you. Amazing.
Amazing.
Good job. Good job. Oh, Mickey. Mickey, thank you so much for the Prime for 3 months. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for the Prime. Welcome back. All right. We finished with
Margarita.
what?
Nothing.
Bob, you
Now
wrote
you'll never
Margarita,
let
right?
that go. You'll have to.
I forgot
remember
already
what
what's in it,
margarita
apart
is.
from the lime because it's sour.
Wait, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What is a
Yes.
mojito compared to a margarita? I don't know the difference. I was so torn between those two.
Mojito is with lime,
Mint.
mint, sugar, like sugar cane, like the brown sugar.
Oh.
Sorry, not sugar cane, brown
Yeah.
sugar, and there is caipirinha in it or caipirosca. Caipirinha in it.
Are you
What
sure?
the fuck is that?
No, it's not
know what's-
caipirinha. No, caipirinha is an entire. No. Caipirinha is another
Yeah,
drink.
caipirinha is a hot.
Caipirinha and caipirosca, two drinks.
Yeah.
What do you put? Rum.
Yeah.
In a
Whoa.
caipirinha, you
Okay.
put cachaça, something else.
Why do you know so much about drinks, Julia? You're scaring me.
Yeah, she should be a barkeeper
This is
or professional
concerning.
alcoholic.
I just cachaça, that thing, that one the
Yeah.
Gucci. That's the truth
Wait.
right there. Yeah. But we are gonna go for the next category. And
I'm
I
scared.
hope you're ready, Bob, Ashkelon, and Aaron.
Are you scared? Yeah.
Very close. You're very, very close. What category?
No, this is where I
Yeah.
win.
This is.
Oh, no, it's gonna be geography, and we're all dead.
Okay.
Ah, geography sucks.
You're sabotaging me, Julia. You haven't brought out the monkey games yet. I told you I practiced those before the stream. Yeah, you haven't brought them.
What the
You
fuck
know,
is
where they
this?
flash a
So-
pile and you gotta click it. You know
What
what?
is that?
I'm too advanced.
Oh, the monkey game? Oh, it's like
Yeah.
the pattern. You have to remember the,
Yeah.
the pattern.
Oh, is the human benchmark? Is
Yep,
it
yeah,
the
yeah,
human
yeah.
benchmark? Oh my god.
Let's do that instead of fucking food.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Whoa,
whoa.
whoa, chill.
Oh,
You're
sorry,
done.
sorry, sorry.
The last one is pop culture. We have pop culture, geography, and
Oh, no.
history. Chat, this is your time to vote what our contestants are gonna play next, and where we are gonna maybe
Either
lose
way.
people. Yeah, Lizzie.
Sorry. Geography is like
I don't-
dangerous.
Lizzie, can you?
Geo-
do
it's
that?
gonna be geography, you know?
Can you
What?
hit pop?
Geography.
Oh my god, I
Pop,
cannot.
Pop, 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 pop.
Oh my god, I get crazy whenever I see the TikToks. I
If I do
Oh,
a
no.
sub dance, can
Yeah.
I have an extra life?
I don't know, Chad. What do you think? Is a dance by Bob worth an extra life? Is that worth it?
Oh my god,
What
we're
you
selling
think?
our bodies. I wanna sell my body too then.
That is sellout.
I
Yeah.
will dance for a life.
You know
I
what?
think that.
Would you?
If he starts an OnlyFans, get rid of both.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying.
No, they're saying no. Oh, look at Chad. You're too mean. Chad,
job,
you're way
Chad.
too mean. How dare you be so mean? Look at him.
What
He
would it
was ready-
cost?
Look
What
at
would it
him.
cost?
Look at him. It was ready
Why
to
is
dance.
he gotta do it anyway?
It was. It's gone. He's angry. He's angry at you, chat. He's angry at you. It's gone. It's gone. It's living.
Can someone write days of cringe in chat?
You know what's fucked up? I had 2 margaritas today.
You joking?
Those are the drinks that I had.
Where did you get
Yeah.
them? Who gives you those drinks? You're underage. You should not be allowed in bars.
I went out with my parents.
Oh,
my mom and my sister
Okay.
and my brother.
For brunch.
Yeah.
Mm.
Dude, I've been up for ages. So I blame that and the 2 drinks
Mm.
on
Yeah.
on these. So but only a drink per life, so now we're chilling.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Sure.
I'll win this.
Well,
Yeah, maybe
I don't know if you're gonna win this, but the next category is gonna be geography.
Ah.
Better is not keep
This is where I lose. Bye.
Easy. This is the
Nice
easy
knowing you
part.
guys.
You
Fun.
don't have to win, you have to survive.
Are you ready?
Is it
have
4
to-
questions again?
4 questions again.
Easy.
So
God.
4 questions means that you
Sure,
could
go.
like not know anything about a category and lose entirely just because of one category.
True.
I hope you're ready for this one. I hope you're ready for
This
this.
is my grave.
Our grave.
Okay. Okay.
You sharing
We'll
a grape?
see. We'll see. Okay. Oh, shit. But let me find it. Where is the geography here? So most of these questions were like picked by me, but then many of them are also picked by the mods. So my mods, so Cami. Don't forget to make your prediction about the final FIFA World Cup on Discord. Yes, thank you, Cami, for the announcement there.
Yeah,
Anyway.
vote for Messi, please.
France will win the World Cup. Voilà, I made my prediction.
Oh, all right. Anyway, how is the game going? It should have started already.
Ah,
no?
it's not started.
No.
It's not started.
We can see.
Oh no? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
cool,
move
cool,
it up, G. I wanna lose fast.
Okay. Alright. Okay. So.
What's the capital of France? San Francisco?
So the next
Wait,
question.
no.
it did not be those.
So we start with geography.
Oh,
Alright.
no.
The
Yeah,
first
it's
question.
geography.
Chat, same old rules as before. You also have the overlay there, all right?
It's a
First
capital
question.
again.
Can you read out the question?
Yeah, I will. The question is, what is the name of the tallest mountain in the world? To be honest, I would also not know many of the answers.
Oh,
Is it an? Never mind.
Are you
I
cold?
Oh
said-
wait,
Yeah,
is the
it's in
English
the
of
word,
it
it's
the
in the
same
word.
name? I don't know.
If
Go
you
for
write
it.
it in your own language, we will figure it out. All right.
I think it's a spicy mark.
Who is
okay, hopefully.
confident? Are you confident
Yes,
with your
me.
answer? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm never
You
confident.
can
but
share. You can share your answers now.
Okay.
Can you share?
Everest.
Wait, it's
Aw.
EST? Don't even.
Good question.
Yeah.
I know
Yes.
there's a different
Mm.
from sea level. Like from sea level,
Yeah.
Everest is the tallest, but there's also a giant mountain underwater, right?
Don't give me that. What the hell?
I know
We
that.
all know the
Yes.
mountain we're talking
Different
about.
mountain.
Yes.
That's
Why
like
would you
the
do that?
taller one. It's taller than Everest, but it's
Yes.
underwater. I think.
Yes,
Doesn't
it's,
count, doesn't
it's
count.
true. Yes.
That's-
it's,
Doesn't count.
That is not right.
Marianne's.
Yes,
thing.
I knew that, and
That's not a
yes,
mountain.
yeah. Oh my god, look at that.
That's
All right.
a water hole.
Well, everyone got it right, so good job to everyone. Good job to every one of you. Still zero
Okay, I
mistakes
was
for
very
Lizzie.
close. It wasn't
Still-
sea level.
Good job. Good job, Lizzie. I like Lizzie flexing, by the way. And
I feel the second, the third, and the fourth question will be a little bit difficult.
a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. So, this one might be easy. All right.
Okay.
The
yeah,
question is, what is the capital of Mexico?
Oh.
Wait.
This one it's easier for the people in chat, but might be a little bit more difficult for you, I guess.
I'm done. Can we call
Right.
it?
No.
Can we
Yes.
stop the
Wait
clock?
for it.
I live on an island.
What you,
Nowhere near Mexico.
Bobo, by the way, you're foggy. Try to resume, you refocus your cam
Oh god.
if you can. Otherwise, no. Anyway,
Hold on.
I'll
Oh,
try.
perfect.
Give me some time.
perfect. You need more time?
I need a lot of time, yeah.
You need a lot of time.
Don't give him time.
Just
Don't
flex.
overthink it. Just
What do you mean? I've
Yeah,
got
just go
Mexico
with,
City in
you
my
know,
brain. I got
the
nothing
best
else.
guess you can come
Just
up with.
write
It's
it
not
down.
Mexico City. It's not Mexico.
Give me some
Just
time.
write
give
it
me some time,
down.
please.
Write it down. And let's go.
Fine.
We can show? We can show, pa? No? No?
Yeah? What?
Yeah.
Ready? Show your answers. Oh my god. Mexico City, Mexico City, Mexico City, Mexico City.
It is Mexico City.
Taco,
I
you're an
hate
idiot.
this.
I swear you're
Are
an
you
idiot.
kidding me?
I swear
Oh,
you're
no, this
stupid.
is-
Oh, you cannot be doing this for real. Here. You cannot be
By the
for
way,
real.
Taco. At least
You,
try
you
with
knew
the
the
actual
answer.
city.
You're like, I only
No,
have
I
Mexico
don't.
City in my
Yes,
brain. I was like, write it down. Why do you think it was telling you
Bro.
to writing it
I
down?
thought you were trolling me. It's definitely
I was
Taco.
not.
But
right?
trolling
at
you.
least try with an actual city.
Like, at least, like, oh my god, you're a
I am not
Dumbo.
trolling.
You're an official Dumbo, but like a huge level Dumbo.
tacos.
Next
Taco
level,
Bell.
Dumbo.
Taco
Taco
City.
level, dumb.
You understand? You wrote Taco City. Man.
Yeah, what of it? It's close.
Yeah.
Sure. What is your Dumbo face? Give us your best Dumbo impression.
Uh,
I need to freeze you. Or
You have a taco there.
can I do that or no?
yeah, it's good. Wait, no, it was very low quality, but it's fine.
That's perfect. That's better.
Okay. That's perfect. That's better. Oh my goodness, Air, you're so dumb. You did it again. You did it with the margarita, and then you did it now.
That's not my fault.
No, the margarita was a bit.
I thought a
harder.
margarita was a category, and who the hell names the capital of their country just city? That's
It's
basically
just-
what they did.
It's,
That
it's
is
easier.
the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
they're being like practical, you know. They're being just super practical. That's
No.
what they're doing.
That's not practical.
There are a couple of countries who do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Not many
Yeah.
though.
yeah,
A lot of
bunch,
them, yeah.
bunch of them.
Unoriginal.
lot?
That's what I say.
I think there's like 20,
What-
maybe 30 ones.
What if it was Italy City? Would you fuck with that? No.
Italy
no
City.
way. Yeah, exactly.
Italy City.
Yeah.
That would be lovely. Italy City. No? Wait, what are other
No.
countries that have their city like Italy City?
Panama.
or-
Oh, wait, what?
I think Panama is like Panama
Yeah.
City.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oman
Then,
is Oman too, I think.
what?
I mean, Brazil is Brasilia, but it's not
Mhm.
Brazil City.
Luxembourg,
Yes,
Luxembourg.
yes,
The
yes.
capital of Luxembourg is Luxembourg.
Oh.
The Vatican, I think it's the Vatican City.
Oh,
Vatican
true.
is
Vatican
is
City.
just a city.
Yes.
New York
Yes.
City.
San Marino, okay.
Guatemala City. Okay.
Oh,
Guatemala
Guatemala, yeah.
City for sure.
What do you mean? That doesn't make no.
What? Oh, did it
It's not
freeze
Mexico
again?
City. I think there's a mistake.
What?
Everyone got it wrong.
Everyone was wrong.
And
You
it
were
was
the only one who was right.
Yeah, tacos.
Taco.
Taco
It was
City.
taco.
The answer was taco.
Yeah. I'll take burrito if it was actually.
Oh, my count froze. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
now
But at least
is
you're
so
not
unfair.
frozen.
for tacos.
At least you're not
That's-
frozen.
You're back.
Stream is still alive.
Okay, we're
Tacos
good.
sound
We're good.
right now.
Do you want to say your last words, Air, before leaving us?
Yeah. It's unfair. I've been conned against. This is all a sham.
Con-
It's not right. It's not right.
You're not
I
gonna get
deserve the
glory.
biggest the victory, but I've been conned out of it, dude. That's just it.
Rigged.
Yep.
Rigged.
Rigged.
I didn't want.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
rigged.
use that word, but she did for me. She did.
Man, I was telling you write it down. I was telling you write down. Write down.
I thought you were
Wait,
trying to
you
get me
just
out.
write it down.
You didn't help me with margarita. I thought that was a category.
Margarita,
and
when
you
you
knew
said
that
I
was
have
gonna
the
get that
answer, I was
wrong.
like, okay, he has the answer. He has it. Like,
I had a moment of just like, did he? Oh yeah.
oh my god. It's just-
What? Oh, why didn't
You're
no-
just
like, you
giving
should've
other-
brought it up?
And I'm wondering how many of the others, like, they heard you say Mexico City and they went like, oh, actually, that's a good guess. You know?
How
Oh,
is that a good
We
guess?
knew about that.
I was there. I was just
Yeah,
like,
that is slug progress.
he's so close.
Mexico City.
Anyway, Air, this has been lovely.
It was fun.
Salutes to you. Bye bye, Dumbo. Bye. We got him.
Oh,
Oh god.
I got you. Bye air, bye chat, bye chat air.
Goodbye,
Air
goodbye.
chat, air chat. Okay, we're moving on with the next question. We already have 2 Dambos in the game. Next question. How are you feeling about it? How geography is doing its trick.
Did you choose the Mexico City question?
What?
Who
I
chose
don't
the
know.
question?
Maybe I did. I don't remember. This
Because
one,
Kami's question would be harder.
yeah, Kami's question. Some of them were very, really hard. Like I didn't put them in there. But anyway,
Oh.
next question for geography. The third question of geography. What country has this flag?
This is not.
Come on now.
What
I have no
country has this flag? It can
I
be
mean,
difficult for
it's-
some people.
It's
It's
not
one
as
of
easy
two.
as
It's
it
one
looks.
of two. I've,
Yeah. I'm gonna
Only
go with
one
this.
of
can I DM a friend?
No, no, don't DM
I
the
think
friend.
I'm out,
Okay.
but
Don't
Please.
DM.
I forfeit.
No, you got this. You
I
got this.
forfeit. I have no
I'm,
idea.
I'm, I'm
I
gonna
think
I'm gonna I'm gonna bet
so
on my
fun.
friend actually.
Okay. Okay.
I hesitated between 2.
yeah.
Mhm. It's scary, right? Because it's the last chance that you have. It can be scary. Did Ashley?
Hey!
Are you ready?
Yes.
I have
Shall we
no
reveal?
idea.
Show me your answers.
Mine is a
See.
blank.
I swear to God, if it's not Colombia, I'm gonna
Colombia,
If it's
Colombia,
Ecuador, I'm
Ecuador,
edge.
Colombia. Lizzie, what did you write? Nothing. Are you forfeit entirely?
Nothing.
No.
Well,
I have no idea what that line is.
Bob.
I'm really bad with
It's
flags.
either
Well,
Ecuador or
first, starting
Colombia.
from Lizzie, you know already. I have to give you an error. I'm sorry you didn't even try. But if you had to do a guess, a random guess, what would you have gone for?
I have no idea.
0. It doesn't give you
Oh my God.
vibes of any
Ecuador?
like continent. Does it give you a vibe of a continent? No, that's fine. Okay. Bob.
I'm sorry.
Yes! Yes, me!
I really don't like to give bad news, Bob. I really don't like it.
Oh.
I really
It
don't
was
like to give
Ecuador.
bad news.
Yes, you do. Don't lie.
But there is actually a good news. There is actually a good news for you. A very good news
Yes?
for you.
You can watch
You
the
know,
game.
Bob?
Yes!
There's a very good news for you. You will
Yes, yes.
have. Yes, there is a good news. The news is you will have a lot of time to watch the World Cup. You have an entirely free day to watch the World Cup because, unfortunately, it is not Ecuador. It is.
Yes.
It is not Ecuador.
I hesitated between Ecuador and
Oh.
Colombia and...
Colombia?
And you did the bad choice.
Colombia.
It was. Wait, was it intentional? Was it intentional so you could watch the game?
No, no.
He's too smart. He's too
Oh
smart.
no,
my
He
no, no.
betrayed
God,
everyone who bet on
Bob.
him.
No.
Bob.
I'm really bad at flags.
Oh my God. I will remember this, you know?
I really hesitate between Colombia and
Yeah.
Ecuador.
I wrote
Mm.
Ecuador and then decided for
Ah,
Colombia.
At the,
Okay.
at the first time, I think about
What's Ecuador?
Venezuela, and Venezuela, there is some stars,
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry.
Man,
to tell
Ecuador's
you-
flag is the same.
You, Bob, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
to
it's
tell
almost the same.
You are the third Dumbo of tonight.
Hmm?
What is
Over.
your Dumbo face? What will be your Dumbo's?
He's
where-
I'm not
You just left.
It's just,
Is this your Dumbo face?
I'm a
He's
hero.
moved
No,
on.
come
It's the
back.
couch.
Come
The
back.
couch is a Dumbo face.
What is your Dumbo face for today?
No.
Oh, perfect. I like it. I like this Dumbo face. Shows exactly what you should be feeling. I like it. Nice. Bob, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. You have to
yeah, but
wait
I'm
this
really
today.
sorry. I think
What?
gone too far.
You what? You've gone too far?
I really far. I went to the victory.
Yeah. We a lot of people in chat too, since they gave you a lot of points. They give you so many
Sorry,
points.
sorry, chat. Sorry, chat is not from this time.
I'm really sorry, for real. Bob, thank you so much for playing with us. Good luck for the game tonight.
Ca-
Because
we can-
France
you know,
is
the-
definitely
actually.
gonna win tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight, France is winning.
It-
It's 100%.
Don't
sure.
jinx it. God damn, don't
Yeah.
jinx it.
Nice.
Stop
Good
Come
talking.
on, I'm not
Good job,
jinxing it. It's
Julia.
like it's given.
If-
It's
I'll-
given
I'll-
for a
Yeah.
fact.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Given for a
Jinx,
fact.
mega jinx.
Bob, thank
Let's
you
go.
so
The
much
love
for
of God.
playing.
GG,
Hey, thank
friends.
you.
Thank you
So-
for
so-
being here. Yeah.
I cannot stay here. No.
Oh, do you want to stay here? Sure.
You can stay.
You can stay.
What you want? What you want?
As you want to stay. If you want to stay here, you stay here. But you cannot give the well. You can give the answer. You can go over Dumbo. Like I can give you more
Over
points if you
Dumbo.
want.
Done.
But you can mute me so I can't you can't see me and you can't hear me.
So what is the point?
So,
So I mute
what's the
you.
point?
I remove the camera, but you stay.
No,
Say it in French.
What?
no.
Well, I think, I mean, he can stay here and play, but just
Do you want to stay here and play? You can play in chat if you want to also.
or playing chat. Yeah.
Like from
Yes,
chat,
yes,
there is an overlay.
I will go to the chat. I will go to the chat.
But you can stay here if you want to. You can stay here with your camera on and also with your mic on, and you can give us feedbacks if you want. But you cannot say what you see from chat.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's fine. Do you like it here?
Now, what about the game?
And I watch the game.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can give us the feedbacks from the game too. You can tell us when they do like a score and all of that.
Yeah, when Messi
Okay.
scores, you
Update
can tell
us
us.
on the game.
Yeah, keep us. You're gonna be the new like the updater on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear my television?
No,
Okay.
we don't. Anyway, the next question. Well, I mean, like, geography is killing everyone. Geography is not
It's
even
hard.
like Lizzie. No, Maxwell hasn't been doing any mistakes. So like for a while now, like his Wait,
Food was harder for me.
Wait, don't hear you?
Really?
You're muted. Did you know you've been muted this whole time?
Shit, I've been talking like for the entire time, and no one was able to listen to me. I'm so dumb.
No.
Give me the Dumbo side.
I'll
Give me the Dumbo side. Oh
I'll
no.
give you the double side without even like. Oh, there we go. And we've been talking a lot, and we were ignoring you. Is that what you thought?
Yes.
Oh, you thought.
No,
you were...
I was just like, oh,
No.
well, it is what it is.
No.
Oh.
Blame it on technology.
I blame it on G.
On Bob.
She ripped it.
Bob is the problem. We
No,
have-
no.
Wait, what?
That's not on Bob. That's not on Bob.
Hey,
That's-
I am the problem.
No, not you, Bobo.
Ah, Bobo.
Bobo. Okay,
Hi.
we go for the fourth and last question of geography. By the way, hi
French.
Rising, welcome in. Fourth and last question of geography. Ready?
Okay.
Geography.
Okay. How many countries are there
Oh, that's
in
so
the United Kingdom?
That's Jelford's question for sure.
This
yeah.
is for
Can I
Jacob.
can I DM a friend?
No, you cannot. be a friend.
Can I name them? Can I name it?
Oh, if you want to
Do I
flex,
get extra
sure.
points?
Oh, can
Go
I flex
flex?
them too?
Okay,
Oh,
go
I
for
don't
it.
know
Wait.
too. United Kingdom.
Go flex if you want to. I mean,
Okay.
look at that. Can I name them? God. So you can also vote by using the overlay. Go for it. Flex. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you more points just because. You
Hold
voted.
on.
Now you're falling back because you don't remember one. I see.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
ready.
God.
All right.
Wait, hold on. I don't have space.
Okay.
That's what happens when you try to flex too much.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay. Do you have your answers? Let's wait
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
flex of Lizzie.
Yes. Oh God. I wrote.
Let's wait for Lizzie's flex. Okay.
Okay.
Let me see your answers. 4. 4 Prage. 4. 4. 4. Good job. Oh, Rising! Not Rising, you misclicked.
What did he do?
Rising, you he did a tier
Wait.
3. He gifted a tier 3.
Oh.
Rising, you misclicked. Rising, you have your mouse in the wrong position. Rising, thank you for the gift, tier 3 gifted. Do you think it? Yes, I do
Your
think you
camera
misclicked a lot,
freeze?
Rising, and you
Julia?
know that. What?
Julia.
Oh, I froze. I
Your
froze.
camera
I
is
froze. Sorry.
frozen.
You
Yes,
froze, yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Rising, you can still hear me. This is just, you've been lucky. I'm back at... Rising, you misclick a lot. Rising is a dev, he doesn't use a mouse. There we go, you don't misclick, you just mistype. Oh, why do we have a never gonna give you up under... Shut up. Jalford, it's always you playing the music in the background. Alright. Oh, look at that. Okay. So,
11 also named them.
Yeah.
I couldn't name the fourth one. I said West something. I don't remember.
Wales,
Northern
Northern
Ireland.
Ireland,
Wales,
England, and
oh.
Scotland.
Oh, wait, you
Netherlands,
Best.
let me do something for... Liban, I'm gonna just transform you so you are in the right way for... Did I
Oh.
fucked it up?
What
Did
did
I
you
fucked it up?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Rest in peace.
Oh,
No, where did you go? Oh,
Yes.
okay,
She
there you go. No,
disappeared.
because okay,
Oh,
because
there
every
she
time that you
disappeared.
were writing like in the different way. That now you're perfect. Now you were perfect
Okay,
already
okay.
before, but now you're even better.
Wait.
I think that I didn't actually, but it's fine. It's anyway. Well, since everyone did it right, everyone did right this round. It's correct. The answer
Yeah.
was actually 4. I'm really proud of you because I would have not know the answer of this one. I have to be honest. I would have like to think about it.
and
If
I
you say
got
name them, I
I
would
got
know
the right answer. So
Good job, Bobo. For a loser, you're a very good loser. Lizzie, do you want to flex and tell us the 4 countries they're called? Okay.
England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales.
Exactly. Yes, I knew them. Yes.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. Very
Jalford is proud of you.
Good. Good job. Good job. Okay, so we are done with geography, and all of you
Now it's
survived.
history.
I'm kind of proud. We have 2 more categories. We have either history or pop.
Okay.
Oh no,
I'm
history.
gonna
Yes, Bob.
I'm
We're
gonna
done with
leave.
history.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
leave?
Let's not do
Okay.
history.
Bye, Bob.
Yeah, the game
Thank you
is
for
done.
joining.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye, Bob.
Thank
Ciao.
Julia, you
Yes?
can push me to the sortie.
Oh, I have to push you to the sortie? No, you close the
Yes.
window. You close the window.
Yes.
Push me to the... you do it yourself.
Oh, he wants you to kick him out
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
call?
No. You got this. You got this. You can do it by yourself.
Okay. See you.
Bye,
Bye,
Bobo.
Bob.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you
I
for
hope
playing.
France.
It was
win.
love. No, Bobo. No, bye, Bob. No. Sorry.
Trying
No,
to fix my
me.
cam.
You
You
did
did
not
not.
fix your cam.
Yeah, I'm trying. I said I'm trying. Trying.
Oh, I heard. I finally fixed
Keeps
my cam.
focusing on the wrong stuff.
Yeah. Or anyway. Well, chat, since we got so far, I need you to cheer for the last... How many are you? 5? Still 5? For the last 5. I want to see
5,
the
yeah.
sections. I want to see people cheering for their own heroes in chat. I need you to, like, I saw Poto.
Weezy.
There's Poto cheering for Limoni. Bye. Let's see. There is Ashkelon
Waddle.
side.
No.
Oh, who's cheering for me? Wait.
Beautiful. Look at chat. There is also the ones cheering for the fallen ones, like Angelo. People are still rooting for Air Potato. I got you. But while we wait for the votes from chat to choose the next
Oh, it's
category,
pretty even.
the final results. Oh, here there's a lot of points and they're so fucking close to each other. So usually the average points are like around 60, like 66, 60 were the like the top ones, all right? This time the top one has 76,959 points. And the
So
and the
close, 10 away
second
from
one
69.
and the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and the sixth one, and the seventh one, they all have 76,000 points and other stuff. So they're all very, very, very close.
Whoa. They're
So-
close to each other.
Yeah, very close. The top one is Mr. Pumpkin. Mr. Pumpkin, good job for doing so well in geography, which
name.
apparently
Good job.
was the most difficult
job.
one. And following, we have Dayan. What's up, Joe? Are you also misclicking too? Joe Xro, thank you so much for the other gifted one. I appreciate you. You're gifting two today, and they're your first twos. I appreciate you for it, really. Is that your way for like cheering for them? I appreciate you.
Oh.
Then we have Dayan as the second one. Third one, we have the contestant 133 because apparently they did not log in with Twitch, so we don't know their name. They're unnamed. Well, okay. We have Muchi, Theo, and Kotpa, and Jake following. So good job to everyone. Good job to everyone. Taking care of my fellow Lee's nuts. Lee's nuts.
Oh.
What? Please nuts.
Okay, oh my god. Okay, we are a 50-50 on
It's
the
a
votes
50-50.
for the category. We just need
Oh.
Oh.
at least
Can I
two
vote?
more.
Can I vote?
Yeah.
I get to, let me choose.
You can also open the chat in this moment if you want to vote something that will be better for you.
You always there.
Okay.
You can open chat and just type whatever.
Oh. Who timed that
Oh.
standard? Come on.
No, JJ, don't. I told
No.
them to spam. JJ, no, let them spam, JJ. It is meant to be spamming now.
Instead.
It's a spamming moment. They have to cheer for their people. JJ, no spamming. It's fine, JJ. Thank you for still being here out there. and
Jelbot is
chatting.
is too good for the spam.
Jaffa works so hard.
Yeah.
All right. I guess the next one is gonna be for the joyness of many. It's gonna be history.
Oh god.
Oh God, for real.
The history
Okay.
of which country?
Depends on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready for history. I don't remember. Not even one question.
It's just
from
gonna be
history.
Italian history, isn't it?
No.
This is
Oh
not fair.
no.
Yeah,
I think that
probably.
it was the last thing? No, it was the first. What did it? When? Where is the geography? Where are they? Did I even put them here?
Imagine
Ah, okay, we can
if
skip
we
it.
have no history questions.
We have
Oh,
them. We
God.
have them. Oh,
Oh, no.
here's cheering for Lizzie. Look at the losers
Oh.
cheering for
Maybe
the
it's
other
only three.
potato.
Oh,
A potato
really?
cheering for- a potato cheering for another potato.
Yay!
All right. First question.
I'm gonna
of
lose,
his-
don't
oh my
worry.
God. First question for history.
Oh no.
Not ready
The
for
first atomic bomb attack was on which city? We start on a good
Oh.
note.
this. No way.
The first atomic bomb attack was on which city?
God damn it.
All right.
It worked. Why not?
Okay.
Okay. Do you all have your answer?
Yep.
Can I vote this one? Skip this one, I mean.
No. Well, you can, but then you don't get the point. Is that okay for you?
Ready.
No.
All right. Show me your answers. Hiroshima.
Oh, I thought the third one was in Hiroshima. Like the last
I
one.
don't know.
It
No
was-
one
think-
said it's. No one said it's a correct one.
It's actually
Yeah.
indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Hiroshima. So
I thought the
good job to
final one was
everyone.
on it. And that's why like they gave up.
Good job, everyone. Really, really good job.
Only one.
Still, history did not get to you, but this might be on a bit sided. I'm sorry about this one. And the questions are random. They're not, but still. Next question is what was Michelangelo's last name?
Thank you.
No, who is that?
Michelangelo. I'm sorry, this one might be a little bit sided. I have to be honest. You're right.
Who is? Is he
What do you know
the
who it is?
painter?
What do you
Come
know
on,
who it is?
you can't say who it is.
This
I don't
question is
know.
not fair. You're right. This is not history.
Maybe
well,
you,
it is
you,
history.
you don't know the answer, but you know who he was.
I mean, I thought that was his full name. If it's the painter Michelangelo.
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 Yeah, Michael. Yeah, Michelangelo. You know, two names.
Michelangelo. Yeah.
Michelangelo.
I don't know.
It's fine.
Oh
I just
god.
remembered the first. Oh, I'm gonna fail this one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Chad, do you know this
Oh,
one?
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We know the name, not the surname. I know. Michelangelo. All right. Do you want to show me your answers? Jeanne?
What?
Buonarroti?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Almost.
No
Something.
question. I have a
Buonarroti?
question mark.
Alright.
I didn't even
Yeah,
know
yeah.
he had three
I have to
names.
be honest,
Sorry.
this one was a little bit difficult. We
Yeah.
know in Italian maybe because it reminds like his last name sounds like good turkey, like good roasted beef because it's a Buonarroti. Limoni, you were very
Limoni almost got it.
close.
I
Yeah.
have an
Buonarroti.
application
Buonarroti.
about like art, and that's why I remember the first part and
Yeah.
the last part. I couldn't remember the rest.
Buonarroti.
I don't think this
Chad,
one
what do we
counts.
do? What do we do with Limoni? Like, I have to give
She got it. Come on. It
I
was
have
not
to
easy
give
for
an error
them.
to Maxwell, to Bobo, and to Lizzie. But what do we do with Lizzie? Well, with Limonify.
Lemon.
Give her valid. All right.
It's valid. Come
Chat
on.
loves you.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys-
pretty
Chat
close.
loves
That's
you.
good.
It counts.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
Thank
because I
you.
voted for her, but it's valid.
It's
Appreciate it.
good job, Lizzie. Shit.
Why?
Shit. You were the one with 0 points. Now you have 2. Now you have. Oh my god. Oh my god. Next question.
I told you not to vote.
Not to vote for her. Shit. Okay. Next question for history. If the thing goes. Oh, a lot of people from chat wrote Botticelli. The answer is actually Buonarroti and not Buonarrosto, as someone also voted. Anyway, next question is going to be: when did the Berlin Wall fall? This one is history.
As in
Just the
year.
year, right? It's just the year, not the whole date.
No, Lizzie, no.
Wait, it's just the year, not the whole date.
No, just a year, just a year.
Okay.
No, Lizzie, no, for real.
I have no idea. This is where I go. This is where I go.
Chat, shall we give them a little bit of a help? I feel like the dates
Yes.
are difficult. I can give you 4 dates and you can choose between these 4. Is that okay?
Yes.
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 Yes, sure.
Right? Okay. The 4 dates are. Wait. Chat, stop being so mean.
That is so mean.
What do you mean no?
Why?
Yes, let's help them out.
Okay, yes.
No
yes,
help? No help?
Nah, come on, chat.
We're gonna lose all of them. Apart from maybe Maxwell. He's already there.
Bye.
I just
All
know
right.
the century.
The 4 dates are 1989, 1889, 1979, or 1969.
Okay,
69, nice.
Nice.
Gotta say it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you want me to repeat the dates?
Yes.
Bob, you don't know?
1889, 1969, 1979, or 1989?
Okay.
This song.
I have no idea.
Well, with the helps,
I think I'm ready.
You were happy with the Team Tam Slam, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, I was so happy with the Tim Tam Slam. I was just like, I know this. This is what I do all the time. I do the Tim Tam Slam and I'm out.
You were pretty good though in other things as well. Really. Wait.
This is where I go. Goodbye.
Do you want to show me your answers? Let's see who we're losing today. 89, 89, 89. Lizzie?
Oh, Lizzie got it.
Lizzie? I don't see
Is it right?
I don't
Yeah.
see it. Raise it.
Yeah, it's right. It's right.
A little bit higher?
Yeah.
Higher, higher.
Oh, there we
Julia.
go. Bob, what did you write?
Same.
89?
Yeah, I had
Is
7.
it right?
and it changed.
I survived!
We still haven't lost anyone. Shit. History is easy.
You know why I
then.
guessed this one? Because when you said 1989, you kind of smiled, I think. So I was like, maybe this is the answer.
Am I giving it away? Shit, am I giving it away?
5 head. 5 head.
Oh, shit.
Psychology major.
Oh, shit.
Psychology major. Reading you. Yo.
Nice. All right. I see. I'm gonna be like poker face now. I'm gonna be super poker face. The last question for history, which is going easier than what we thought. So much easier than what we thought. Okay.
That's famous words.
Last question for history is: how many days in a week were there in ancient Roman times?
Why? Why do you hate us?
What?
Are we really supposed to know that?
Wait, what?
Well, I mean,
Can I Google this
Is it-
answer?
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is it the same as how many days there are now?
No, I'll tell you no. I can help
that's-
you by telling you no.
oh, that's a good help actually.
I have no idea.
That would have been like a tricky one, right? That was just a 7.
Isn't that?
Yeah, I was gonna say 7
Oh
actually.
God, I don't know.
It's fine.
Is okay. Quick,
Yep.
can I have a clue? Is it more or less?
That's a good.
We're never ending the game. It's like you're all so close. Okay, I
think
can
this
tell you
is-
that it's
okay.
not too far from like the actual number that there is right now. It's not like 20. All right.
I
It's
think
not.
I
It's
can-
not too far from the actual number that there is right now. I can tell you this. Don't think about 1 or don't think about 20. Noted
What if I-
19. All right.
I have a logic behind my answer. Not
like
that I
it.
know 100%, but I hope it works.
Did you all write your answers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to show your
Sadly.
answers?
This is where I go.
Okay. A. Days. Is that a 7?
8?
Did you write 7?
I wrote 7
And
Sunday, like Moon Day, they're old names.
but
So I was
wait,
thinking like
hold
it's the same.
on, Limo. Like
I was
feel like-
thinking
I
I
don't
was
feel-
torn between 5 or 8.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think that
me
you
too,
heard what I
or
said
5 or
before.
8.
I said that it's not the same number that we have right now. There are 7 days in a
Bruh.
week right now. Do you wanna change your answer real quick? You didn't hear that. That was like you misunderstood the question. You misunderstood the
But I know
question.
but I know the answer now. No, you can strike me in.
You don't know the
I
answer.
didn't hear it.
There's some
We,
people that
we,
that
he
made
she
a
hasn't
mistake.
told us the answer yet.
Okay,
What if
I'm
she
gonna
she
do
wants
what
to change? I
everyone
want to
said
change
then.
too.
You wanna change? Change it too.
Yeah.
Okay, change it. Okay, fuck it. Shit. Alright. You sure
Imagine
you
if
wanna
it's
change
not
it,
late.
Bob? Are you sure you wanna change it?
Yeah, I'll change it.
Are you
I'll go with
sure?
everyone else.
Are you
yeah.
sure?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it was.
I am sure. I want to change it, dude.
Okay.
If
Okay.
it's 6,
Fine.
it's 6.
I want to change Mexico City. Alright, the answer was actually 8 days.
Easy too easy. I knew it
Okay,
from the
this-
start.
What are the
I had
names
a-
of it?
I
Is
had
it
Did
a
you know
moment, it was
correct
like
in like
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
sun,
Thursday, Friday.
moon, and like the names of it?
So yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know the names. I think that
I
maybe
don't
there
know.
was one more day.
Maybe.
So-
Yeah, there was one more day.
Who knows? They used to smoke all kind of weird shit back in the day. So
Okay, so we're skipping this question, I guess,
Oh,
because look at I'm ranking my old game.
It's okay.
my
It's
God.
your show.
Thank you. I'm being too nice. And I'm sure that
Yeah.
in the next one, no one is gonna do a mistake.
I don't
Obviously,
think.
it's gonna be full of TikToks. Come on.
In the last, in this round of history, which was the last one, we have on the top tier, like as I told you, like usually it's like 76, like 60, and the last one was 76. We go back into the normal grades. We have Sandra with 65, followed by Metal with 52, and then Francesco. So good job to the three of you. Good job.
Good job.
Good job. And Meta didn't even answer to the first question. Good job. Let's go for the last one, last category, and then this time I'm gonna be mean. I'm not gonna be helping you. I'm not gonna be allow you to change your answers. I'm not. None of that.
No clues? No, like,
No
is
clues.
it the same?
And it's pop
Okay.
culture. This is gonna be easy for
Okay.
some of you.
Oh no. This
Harder
is
for
where
others.
I'm gonna lose.
I made it possible so
Yeah.
like doesn't matter your age. It's gonna be pop,
Yeah.
like different ages of
Imagine.
pop. All right. So we go
Okay.
for pop culture. Where is it?
Pop, pop,
Re-
pop, pop, pop.
Yes. Exactly.
Ready? Oh, there's not Bob. Where's Bob?
Bob,
Bob?
more check.
Bubble? Bubble left us. How confident are you with pop culture?
0.
0? Why
Comme ça,
0?
comme ça. 50-50.
Yeah, because you.
I don't know.
How come? Oh, sorry, turning on the light.
Dep- Depends on
How
the
come?
questions.
Why not?
I'm gonna be dead, and on the first TikTok thing you
It's
put
not.
in.
I didn't put TikTok things. I think that there is no TikTok things. I think
Well,
there is
then one.
Let me see if Bob is gonna come back. It did not write.
He's had enough.
Yeah.
Most probably. Where did he go? He left us. All right.
He left the call.
Yeah, he
I
left
don't know.
entirely the call. I don't know if he wrote in chat. Metal culture? There is not gonna be metal culture. Wait, maybe you know what we can do? You can take this 2 minutes while we wait for Bob. If you want to go get yourself some water, I'm gonna get myself water for sure. Yeah, I need you to stay hydrated too. I need you to stay hydrated too. Go for it. Go for it. Go. I'll be right back too. Chat, you should also get water, right? We will be all right back.
Make sure. Can we read chat? I think now. So chat, how's the game going?
My chat.
You make Julian proud. The history questions were pretty easy actually. I'm not cheating, Garia. Come on. I'm 2 strikes.
Good job, Lizzie, that you're drinking water. What? No, it's not. What is that? Is that a tea?
Yeah.
Oh, you're having a tea.
Black tea.
A black tea?
Uh-huh.
Oh, penalty for Argentina. Come on.
Oh, we're having.
Wait, what?
How is the game going?
It's
How's it
0-0, but
Mm-hmm.
Argentina just got a pen.
Mm.
Come on.
I don't know if Bob is gonna come back. Let me check. He said connection lost. Give me a second. Okay, he's coming back. He's coming back. By the way, it says that my CPU is maxed out. Nice. I hope we will not have this problem with the new PC that is coming on Tuesday. Oh, by the way, chat, just letting you, while we have this, I can use this space for announcements. Tuesday, we're gonna go to the offices of MSI in Bergamo. Really, really cool. They're gonna show us around. They're gonna tell us about computers and all of that. I'm also gonna receive a gift that I'm gonna show you about. But then on Wednesday, we're also going back to Milan into the co-working spaces. We're gonna be studying from a co-working space. There's gonna be a Il Tomatoes. I hope you're
Nice.
right. And we're gonna be like in the one where I was the last time. I've been there for 2 days, right? The first day that was like the cooler one, and there was also we're also gonna be like in a space, like in another space. We can have
In
the entire
another
space for us.
space.
In another space, yes, exactly.
Come on, Messi.
Urkami. She keeps getting flamed. Let's see if Bob is coming back.
I put your schedule.
Oh, you wrote it down? Ah, cute.
We have here.
Still have a better schedule than her.
You're watching this right now. This is what I have to say, and this is G's schedule.
I love it, but wait, is that like a pencil on paper? So every time that you write, you're like consuming on a full paper?
Yeah,
Aw.
it's a metal Sharpie, like a metal
Ooh,
ink.
that looks really cool.
Yeah, it's silver.
Oh, wait, let me write to Bob. Let's see if Bob is gonna come back. Messi, what is what happened?
Messi scored.
How did the penalty go?
Oh really?
Messi scored. Yeah.
Messi scored? Oh my god, I love Messi. Oh, we can hear the TV now.
The
We can
goat.
hear.
Not mine though. I don't think you
I
can.
think it's my window
you?
outside. They're
Your
celebrating.
window?
What?
Really?
They're celebrating.
I'm in the university campus, so everyone is watching it right now.
Oh.
Celebrating.
Oh, right. Are there like many international people in your campus?
Yes.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
so there must be like a lot of people like from Argentina. Maybe also they're like being happy about it,
Yeah.
or maybe people from not France that are cheering against
Yeah.
France. That'd
Like
be awesome.
everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bob is coming back. Like he's not answering. Yeah. He should be waiting for the router to restart. Okay, we're waiting for his router to restart. Well, right now you're all with the same points, same lives, apart from Limonify. Limonify, how do you feel for the last?
I
She's
am
gonna win it. I
pop
believe in
culture.
her.
I am like 50-50. I know some parts, some niche things, and if it's from somewhere that I have no idea, I'm just gonna lose 100%.
How is your knowledge in like old pop culture?
Less good, I think. So I don't know. We'll see. If it's related to music, I might guess it. If not, then I don't know.
Lizzie, what about you? How is your knowledge in pop culture?
I live under a rock at this point, so I don't know.
But you know,
I have no idea.
You know the pop.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah, yeah.
It's pop culture. There we go. Maxo, how is your knowledge in pop culture? Are you better like in old or current pop culture?
Probably better in older stuff.
Older?
Oh,
Really?
damn. Yeah. I mean, I'm ancient compared to all of you.
What do you mean you're Asian? You're not.
I am.
Hello?
Hi, Bob. Welcome
Oh,
back,
Bob.
Bob.
Hi, he's back.
I'm sorry.
Welcome
That's
I'm
back.
sorry
fine,
for
it's
you.
fine.
Hello.
Is everything alright with your connection?
Yeah. I was just about to restart it for some reason.
Oh well,
Mm.
it's fine. How do you feel about pop culture for the last round?
Too easy.
Too
Give
easy?
me something hard.
All right, then.
Damn.
We got a winner.
I need to win it, you know.
Well, actually, Bob, you know how you could fix all of your issues with the internet connection?
I think
Get a
it's
gaming
not
PC
one
from
of-
MSI.
If you use
NordVPN.
NordVPN, you would fix a lot of your
D'accord.
issues with your connection. So, chat, use the link in chat to use my link for NordVPN. Not only you will have a VPN, but also you will be supporting me and the channel and the Dumbos games. So appreciate it. There we go. Sorry,
I love the
Nice.
segue. Let's go.
That was
I love it. That was smooth.
Easy.
I love that chat gives me these ideas. Thank you. Anyway, we start right now with the first question of the pop culture. First question. Which musician has won the award for top female artist 4 times?
should have never came back.
Yeah. You know.
And this time I'm not gonna be nice. This time I'm gonna be mean, and I'm not. I don't care if you don't get it.
No one was nice with me. Everyone
it
does that to the
Beyonce?
people except me.
Is it Beyonce? Yes or
You're
no?
close.
Quick, do not.
You're close.
Oh my god.
Did you all write your answers?
No.
No,
Yes.
wait.
No.
Is it Beyonce? Yes or no? Tell me.
I'm not gonna tell you anything. Show me. Show
Are
me
you going
your
with
answers.
Beyonce? Oh wait.
Yeah, sure.
We have Taylor Swift.
Wait, did we froze?
Taylor Swift? No.
No.
What did you
froze.
write?
Oh.
Beyonce. Bob, what did you write?
Yeah.
Can't. I wrote
I don't
Taylor
know.
Swift.
I don't know.
You wrote Taylor Swift? Okay.
Yeah.
Let
you
me
see?
tell you.
What?
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know.
I'll just tell you the options for chat were Ariana Grande, Katy Perry, Drake, and Taylor Swift.
Wait,
Drake.
Drake was an option?
Drake was an option.
What?
I could have. I honestly
Wait,
was
chat has
anyone-
options?
Yeah, chat has 4 options.
Damn.
How
Yeah,
come
it's
we don't
easier for
get?
them.
How
It's
come we
easier for
don't get
them.
these
It's easier.
options?
Because
Yeah, that's what I asked at the beginning actually.
So I'm sorry, but we have a new Dumbo among us. The new Dumbo is Ashkelon. Salutes
Yeah.
to
Sorry, I
Ashkelon.
was like doodling on my paper. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted.
That's fine. It's completely fine. No worries. Ashkelon, what is your Dumbo face for today? How
I
do you
don't
want to
know.
be remembered?
Oh, like this for sure with the
How?
messy thing.
No. We need your face.
What?
You need to show your face. You need to-
Can you see that?
He scored.
Wait.
with the
Yeah, it
first-
worked.
No, you can't.
You can see
Okay,
it.
maybe like
no,
this.
we cannot. Like
Yeah, on the side maybe, yeah.
this. Okay. Now smile.
No, I'm not gonna smile.
Like this. All right. Okay. That's how you.
Yes, you
I got
should.
you. All right. Ashkelon, how do you feel about you losing?
I mean, I knew pop culture would have killed me. That's why I
Really?
voted for history. Yeah.
You voted for history in the back? Like
Yeah, I did
before?
voted for history.
I'm
History
sorry.
hurt.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
you
it's okay.
You were a good contestant. I have to say.
Imagine
you had a
I
lot
wrote
of,
Australia, and then deleted and voted for Canada.
yeah, that was a
So,
bit dumb. But
that's what I
you know,
left.
other players did dumber shit. So like Eric.
Yeah.
I
You
said
know.
USA, for instance.
It's okay.
It's
It's a
fine.
good guess. US
see?
was what?
I mean, there
what's
was a
this
good
other
reasoning
mistake
behind
that I
the
remember?
US. I have to say, a very good one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Violence is always violence screams freedom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, Ashton, it was nice to have you here.
Yeah.
I'll see you
It was
next time, or I don't know. Sorry to tell you, you're the new Dumbo of the day.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Good luck. Good luck to the other guys. Good luck
Thank
to
you.
Limon if I voted for you, please.
Oh,
Don't.
Lemon's gonna
Hey,
26k
win.
points, please. Just let me
salute, salute
Oh,
to
God.
Ashton. The Dumbo is gone. He
Bye,
is
chat.
gone. I'm sorry for everyone who voted for him. We have the
Idiots.
last four contestants. You ready?
I have a
We're-
question.
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, now it's a legit question. What happens
Okay.
if we don't, like, none of us becomes a Dumbo after the end?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
Someone has a friend coming.
Oh, it's Lemon.
As you?
It's-
Okay, it's good. It's good. Okay,
fine.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No worries.
So, what happens? Who wins the channel points? Like, I really need these channel points.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what will happen if I don't know what will happen if neither of you becomes a Dumbo or if all of you becomes
All
a
of you.
Dumbo. I have no idea. We're gonna find
Okay.
out.
We
I
all
guess.
danced.
We're gonna find
All
out.
right, all right, let's do
We
this.
just
All right.
we just shimmy.
Yeah. You're gonna share the win, I think. Anyway, last
Jazz hand.
second question for the pop culture. Wait, which musician was known as the king of pop?
I think I know this.
There's
one.
a big help.
I can't
there.
fit it in. I can't like.
You can
It'll-
just.
It won't fit. Okay, sorry.
You got it. I think that
I don't want to
it's-
waste paper.
There's
I
a
actually
big, there's
forgot
a
his name.
huge help. There's a huge help in the question. It's a huge help in the
Yeah.
question, right?
Yes.
I
true,
forgot his
Sam.
name.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Forgot his name.
How can you forget his name? He's a king of pop. You cannot forget his name.
I honestly forgot his name.
Right? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We have. Okay. Do you want to show your answers? Let's see.
Yes.
But what
Wait,
do you...
give me a second. I need to
you
remember
still
his fucking
thinking?
last name.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, Bubba. You got this. You got this.
I
Think
know his
about-
first name is Michael, but I forgot his last name.
Okay. Oh my god, for real. Michael Jackson.
Sorry, that's-
Michael
that's-
Jackson.
I honestly
Yeah.
wanted to write Michael Jordan.
Oh my god,
Alright.
Bob. I
Michael
want to give you. I
Jordan.
want to give you an error just because of that. I just. wanna
I
give you an
forgot
error.
his name. Okay, it's been a while.
It's yeah. Chad has an option. Also, Elon Musk. Let's see how many people said Elon Musk. One person. One person
There's a
voted Elon
choice
Musk.
Elon Musk.
One person voted Elon Musk. Good job, Chad. Good. I'm really proud of you.
Oh my god.
Nice. Okay. Next question. Which member of One Direction left the band to become a solo
Easy.
artist?
Oh, he's my king. What was his name though? For fuck's sake, I'm so bad with his name. I know his first name. Do I need his full name?
Just to at least
Didn't
know.
they all go?
Well,
Not really. Not really. There is an answer to this. Someone wrote
I
Lewis
have
Hamilton.
no idea. This is where I live.
But wait, but there is two people that sang together. Solo, I mean, no?
No, not really. Not really.
5th grade.
Ah,
Nostalgia.
fuck. Now I'm confused.
Did they not all?
No.
Yeah, all of them. I know that
Eventually.
Harry Styles is singing on his own. The
No.
other one is singing on his own.
But that doesn't mean that they left.
Ah, so
Any
you want to do the first
Directioners in
one?
chat?
No, there is
The first
okay,
one.
There is the band, right? They're still
Yes.
singing together, but some of them are also singing alone. But one of them left. Is not gonna join the band ever again. Is never. Whenever they do like a One Direction tour, he's not gonna join. This
feel
is,
bad.
Oh my god, this is mean.
this is pop culture, Chad. This is really important shit.
Fuck.
I love how all of them were about music. Thank you.
I got you. There's one that's not about music.
Can I get a hint?
No, there's.
What was his?
Man,
Was he hot?
Yes.
Oh,
It's like, can I get a
Ah,
hint?
yeah,
What was
that's
his
not a
name?
what's his name?
Ah, okay. Fuck it, you know.
What's
About-
the first letter of his name? Then I can get it.
You can
This
just
is-
say I will accept not the entire name, just a part of it. You know, just the first or last name. I will accept that. Max, so do you know this one?
I actually don't know.
I'm so unsure.
I see. I'm sure, but at least you know a couple of names. Okay. Do you wanna share your answers?
No?
You
I'm
just-
down.
Same. Max, same. Like no.
Okay, I'm
I
going.
have no idea.
Okay.
I
Oh,
was thinking
yes.
of Zayn.
Zayn.
Same.
Yes.
Yes. Did you write it down, Lizzie?
Okay, it's Zayn. Okay, I'm
It
writing
is Zayn. Oh my god. Oh
Oh
my
my
god. Fuck.
Oh,
Good job. It
Pillow
is-
talk.
It's Zayn! Oh my god! I thought it was going to. I thought this was going to cut all of you out.
insane.
my
I wrote
God.
Zayn instantly, and then I was like, wait,
Insane
Harry has
trust.
solos.
Oh
you
my
know?
god! What the fuck? How did you get this one?
I had
Okay.
Harry Styles first, but then you
Yeah,
said like
I-
who
I
left,
was-
and I was like, oh,
Left,
okay,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
he's yeah.
Shit. Okay. Oh my god.
Too
Okay.
easy.
They're too easy, I guess. I have the last question. The last one. All right. The last one is. Wait for it. Wait for it. What was the first Disney full-length film that used computer-generated animation?
Oh, come
You
on.
I
cannot
cannot.
know entirely this. You cannot all of you know this one. All right.
Come on.
I'm trying so hard to make them lose, chat. I'm trying so hard. You don't know this one?
Can I get some options?
I have a couple
No.
guesses. I don't know. Wait.
Can I get the name of that character in the movie?
No. I can tell you that it was animated.
Oh,
Nice.
for real?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know fucking character
I-
animated movies.
I'm not sure.
I only know like Cinderella and Snow White.
I don't know if this is.
Computer generated. That's the important part. Computer generated.
And I, oh yeah.
They
Fuck.
use computer generated animation.
I'm gonna write the first one I have. Well, I don't know if it's old enough to. Okay, anyhow.
Are you ready?
Okay. I think I have an answer.
Show me.
Nope. I don't. I want to
Everyone,
change.
show the answer.
No, wait, don't.
Should I change it as well? I
Sure.
God damn.
don't know.
Toy Story. I'm like, stop it! That's
Is it
not
Toy
fair.
Story?
It is Toy Story.
Oh God. Okay.
Stop!
I was gonna change
of
it,
these.
and then I
Fair
saw
enough.
everyone saying Toy Story. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna change it.
I wanted to change back to Cinderella. I swear. Like I was like,
How
wait,
did
it's
you
Toy
get
Story.
all of them?
I didn't.
Yeah, I was
I don't.
thinking Cinderella too.
I was Cinderella. Like it was Cinderella or fucking. But I thought Cinderella was
I was
too
thinking
old.
of like the
Too
claw.
old,
First movie
I
I've
was thinking of
ever
the-
watched in a cinema.
Are you joking? How are you getting all of these? You're okay. Listen, I didn't want to have to bring this, but since we have to have at least maximum 2 winners, I'm gonna have to bring
Okay.
out the good weapons. To
What
just
if?
destroy?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
What if
wow.
I ask
Oh,
the
shit.
question?
No.
I think that's
We
fair.
have-
Are we asking Pandora versus like Hannah
I'm
Tone?
sweating. I'm starting to sweat.
We're gonna go for the hard weapons right here, right now. You ready?
Oh no.
And for these ones, I don't
No.
have questions for the chat because I didn't expect this.
Okay.
Okay.
These are my weapons.
No,
Science.
not science
Okay.
and nature.
Do
These are my
No.
weapons.
Oh
These
no.
are my weapons. I'm
Yo,
sorry.
Lemon is at a
I only
huge
know until like 10th
advantage.
grade.
One
That's it.
wrong
Lemon is
question.
Already, she's in psychology. Now.
No, listen. I science and nature. So we have this university like exam entrance, entrance exam, and I didn't choose the science part because like psychology is only like Turkish and maths. So I don't know. I'm not confident.
Let's not
But
do
you
nature.
only-
Let's skip
You
nature.
only have one strike, Lemon. So you have an advantage.
That's
Because
true.
Yeah, but
if
she
we
has an
drop
advantage
it,
because
you
she gained that. Because she
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not like
of course.
I gave her the advantage.
Yeah.
yeah, fair.
I think
fair.
pop culture kind of saved me. at
Aw.
Can
this
we do
point.
spelling
I
bee?
could've- yeah.
We're all dying.
Spelling,
Oh, no.
Are you sure? Do you want to do spelling bees in German and Turkish? And
Oh no, go with science and nature.
Yeah.
Go with science and nature. Oh
By the way,
damn.
Joex, thank you so much for the gifted one to Scruffington.
God.
I
How about we
appreciate you for
decide that
Hi,
we're all winners
Scruffy,
and we don't do
welcome
this?
in.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
world
I'm just
peace.
gonna.
We
peace
salute
out.
to
Riot.
each other.
Ryan, do
Okay.
the French
don't-
special. You know,
What?
Yeah. I feel like Lemon already won because she has the least like mistakes.
No,
By
but maybe
default.
if we do science and nature, I will fail. So we should probably go for it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yes.
We have, by the way, in the one before, in the pop culture, Sandro was the winner of chat. The chat winner was Sandro. Good job, Sandro. And then followed by Joex and Nico. Good job, everyone. Good job. Good job. Good.
Let's go.
So,
Give us
science
a
and
question.
nature will not have the chat part. So, chat, I'm sorry, you will have to just cheer and write your answers in chat. You can just type your answers in chat. None of them should have the chat open, so you're cool.
Yeah.
Starting.
Okay.
First question.
Oh no.
how many questions are we doing?
Wait.
4. Or until like some of you dies, because like that's how it's gonna be. First question is, which is the largest internal organ in the human body?
Internal.
Internal. What do you mean external?
What if- what
is
if my-
What organ do you have external? Oh wait, skin. No, internal. Internal organ in the human body. Internal organ.
I mean, skin is well, no.
It's
Can I
it's
also write it
external.
Turkish just in case if I
Yes.
mistyped
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Largest.
Largest organ in the human body.
She's
Chat,
googling
I
it.
said internal. I said internal, so don't go for skin, chat. It's internal.
This is a vague question. I think we just skip
No,
that
it's
one.
not. It's not.
I-
Write it
It's
down.
worded
Write it
badly.
down.
Yeah, it is.
I think
Well,
I know.
Ah,
Large
okay.
on which scale? Like size or
Weight. Or...
weight or what?
Largest is not.
In-
It's scale. It's not weight.
Do you
it's
mean-
scale?
What? Like because you have a bone that's this size, like it's like 30
Bone
centimeters.
is not an organ.
How is bone not an organ? Do you know what an organ is?
Do you?
Yes.
Is-
You know,
is it-
at the
is
center of
organ-
bones, you
are
have-
bones organs?
They produce red cells at their center.
Yes, blood.
They are
Yeah.
vital
Bones
organs.
are
bones,
organs?
bones are vital organs.
Well, then you choose it. I don't know. I don't even.
Muscles also can be big. This is a bad question. I think we skip it.
No,
Yeah,
yes,
skip the question.
choose among
but
all
that-
of those.
Muscles are
Listen, choose among
I
the
don't-
bones, the muscles, and all of that.
No, but
Oh, okay.
but muscles are
But-
muscular system. That's like muscles are a system. They're not organs.
yeah, but
True.
I'm
There's a
asking
difference.
large on which scale? Like size, height,
Surface area.
All of the volume.
Are we
in
talking about
volume.
like surface area?
We're talking about
Yeah,
volume.
I don't know.
Like if you have to
Volume.
put it in like
Internal organ.
Because
no.
intestines can go for like
millimeters,
20
square
meters or
millimeters. Squared
Okay.
millimeters.
Okay, I'm guessing. I'm I'm guessing. I am a guess. Am
because
wrong?
if you spread intestines, they can go for like
Yeah,
I don't
Bob,
know.
write
300
down
meters.
the
days.
freaking answer, Bob. Stop complaining.
What?
It's a bad
swear.
question, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Show me
I'm
your
gonna-
answer. Show
I
me.
wrote intestines, okay, because they can be spread
Intestine,
over a fucking
intestine,
I said
football.
intestines as well.
Maxwell?
This is a Turkish, so I don't know if
I had liver.
Chat.
liver. Oh wait.
I will riot if
I
it's
don't
not
know.
intestines,
Chat,
okay?
we have
I
two,
can-
we have two winners. We have two winners for now.
But 3 of us wrote intestines.
So
Oh,
that's
then
Ah,
intestines is
liver.
wrong.
I refuse.
Is it
if
liver?
It's
I
the
think it
the
was
question
liver.
is
I will scream if it's liver.
what is your scream, Bob? What would? your
God
scream
damn it,
sound
not
like?
fair! No!
Is it the liver?
This is a bad question. I
It
refuse
is
to.
indeed the liver.
But intestine.
No,
okay.
in no
Yeah.
way the liver is big.
Counter argument though,
Yeah.
if it was largest by surface area, you can
It would
spread an
be
intestine across a field.
Yeah, if it
Yeah.
was, if it had wheels, it would also be my grandmother on a bicycle.
No. You, okay.
What? What is the point? Listen. I swear.
Sorry.
I'm sorry
Rigged.
to tell you.
A
Yeah.
rigged game.
I'm really, really sorry to tell you. It was.
Oh wait, I have to pick a face.
Oh yeah, that's your. Wait, do your. Okay, I have. Do your Dumbo face, Lizzie.
Oh wait, can I
Give me-
get something first?
Yeah,
No,
sure.
I'll give you a Dumbo face, but I'll have to
Okay.
grab something.
Bob, do you want to give me your Dumbo face in the meantime?
Yeah, just gonna do
Give me-
the depression.
I can't hear.
Okay, we have the two Bobs into depression for being Dumbos. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. I need that. I need that. Okay. Is that your Dumbo? Oh,
Here's my Dumbo.
that's your. Okay. Something else? That's it? Okay.
That's very cute.
Okay, that's a cute Dumbo face, to be honest. But, yeah. Chat, if you voted for Lizzie or for... But, Lizzie, you were the most, like... The one that was expected the most since...
I'm
You were
sorry.
not
I
doing
told
any
you not
space.
to vote me.
What happened? Oh my god.
It's clearly rigged. Lizzie should have won.
Yeah, I agree.
You're winning! Why are you saying this?
I voted for Lizzie.
Oh, you voted for Lizzie? Oh my
Yes.
God. Oh.
No, I voted for Lemon. It's
Well-
okay. It's okay.
Lemon can still win.
See, I'm the 5 head here because
Mhm.
the person that I voted for is winning.
Yep.
That's
Smart,
true.
smart.
I'm winning here.
You're not a Dumbo,
You're-
Lizzie.
You kind of still are a Dumbo, but Bob, what do you have to say, Bob? You have something to say to the people that voted for you,
It's a
but
shit game. Shit question. It's
Get
rigged.
fucked.
I do not agree. I refuse to
Agree
lose.
with what?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. It's been fun. I'm sorry to have disappointed
It's so
you.
fun.
Blame Julia. She wrote a bad question.
What is that a bad question? How was that a bad question?
In no way, liver is bigger than intestines.
I
In not a
searched it
single-
on Google. Google has all the answers. And
Yeah,
if-
but it's
if-
probably.
If
Oh
Google
yeah.
says so, that's the answer.
Okay,
If
sure.
Google says
Source,
it,
trust
that's
me,
the-
bro.
I can probably find few articles that said intestine. Let's not talk about this, okay? I'm mad
Okay,
enough.
you can send me the articles. Send me the articles, all right?
Okay.
Thank you for playing today. And I'm sorry for you to beat Dambos. Good
Bye
luck.
bye.
Thanks for
Good luck.
having us. Bye. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
We have the two Dumbos. We have the last two contestants.
Oh God.
We have the last two contestants.
Vamos.
How are you feeling?
I feel like
How are
I'm.
you?
I
gonna
think
lose
I
this one.
completely outplayed my luck, so I can't win.
Me too.
Well, Maxwell, Limoni still has should I call you Lemon or Limoni? Or like a-
Lemon, limon,
like
whatever
lem-
you want.
Limoncello.
Limon.
Lemon has quite an advantage here.
Yes.
You cannot do any mistake.
Wait,
Maxwell.
I got it wrong as well. Did
Oh,
I
true,
have
true.
the second
Oh,
strike?
fair. Oh my god.
I don't-
Look
No,
Oh.
I'm not.
how
Oh.
fair.
Yeah, we're equal.
Look at how
Oh,
fair
shit.
she is.
I said
Look at how
intestines
fair
as
she
well.
is. Okay.
No,
Okay. Okay.
I
She's so confident that she's like, I don't care. I just
Yeah, I can-
give me one more mistake. I got this.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay.
no,
Okay.
I can handle that old geezer.
no,
All right. All
no,
right.
I'm not confident. I think I'm gonna lose this one. Yeah.
We have
Holy shit.
one more question. I hope you're ready for this one. The question is,
Okay.
how many wings does a mosquito have?
Oh, wait. I'm gonna.
There are different options. I can tell you that is not one the answer because
Yes.
that might be a bit
yes.
difficult
Yes.
to like
Of course.
but
Balancing.
yeah, like, just one on top like helicopter mode.
Wait,
No,
is
not
it
even.
is it pairs of wings or wings?
Like just how many like don't tell me don't say two if you want to say four wing. Just say the actual if you had to
Okay.
count them, how many would they be?
Okay. Okay.
But
I'm
that's
just
a good
gonna
question.
YOLO.
Now we know that it's not an odd number
Yes,
because
yes.
that would be weird.
I think
Okay.
this is wrong. Okay.
Do you wanna show
I-
me your answer?
Jumbo time.
Let's see.
Yeah, Dumbo time.
Let's see. 6, 2. Well,
I don't know. I see
One
two.
one of you got the right answer. One of you got
It's
the
not
right
me.
answer.
I'm sure.
Who do you think got the right answer?
I was like, I see two.
Lemon.
No, I
Who do you
think it
think
might
got the
have
right
6
answer?
actually. I think
It's lemon.
Who do you think got it? Chat. I have to tell you,
goodbye,
that
chat.
not Dumbo of today's and the first episode of the Dumbo's games. The not Dumbo one. The winner of today is actually Limonify. Good job!
Congrats!
You're not the Dumbo, you're the winner. She got she didn't understand.
But this
Good
was
job.
just luck. Can we both win? I just said I saw two. So I
It's
said two.
good. It's good. It was actually a trick
I had
question
no
because
idea. Chad.
There are actually two.
Rigged.
Good job. Good job. You won fair and
Really?
square. You won? What do you mean
I
you
had
won?
no
Hank?
idea.
Hank, you were not playing. What do you mean you won? Good job. Really proud of you. You're the last survivor. The
Thank
non.
you.
Congrats, Lemon!
Congrats.
You earned it.
Good
Mostly
job.
luck. I don't think so, but thank you. Also, congrats to you too as well, Emily. You played very well.
Max, you were a good contestant, I have to say. Yeah. Like
And
you
everyone
got till the
else.
very end. You made it so difficult to me to like get you to lose.
Yes.
Oh my god. Well,
Who? Me?
all of you. Well, not
Yes.
air,
all
not
of
air
them.
for sure, and not
No,
Angela,
oh,
but
no.
all the others, all the others, yes.
Okay, you need my Dumbo face, right?
Oh yeah, we can have your Dumbo face. Let's go for it. Oh, is that? Oh, nice. Limonify, you're the only one that will not have a Dumbo face. That's
Rightfully so.
good
Can
job.
I?
Do you wanna? Did you also wanna do the
Can I
Dumbo face?
please?
You wanna have the Dumbo face?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Wait for it.
Yes.
Let me do it. Let me put his Dumbo. This is his Dumbo face, and that's your winner face. Oh, do it again, do it again, do it again. Cute. They're so not good quality, but we got the point.
Oh.
We got the point. You're Max. I think that's one of the best. I have
Thank
to be
you, thank
honest.
you. The face of agony is one of my specialities.
Oh wow, that's a good skill
Yes.
to have.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, look at it. So many points are going to the people that voted for you, Limoni. You were actually the one with the most points for the bets.
I don't know. I think it's just like I was lucky with the questions that were asked this episode. I
You
think
can just
you know
say
it
that
was
you were
because
smart. Come on.
no, most of the time I was like, I don't know, I'll just guess. And there was one I should remind you guys that there was one with like the surname of Michelangelo, and I was like,
Wow.
let me go. I couldn't even write the full thing, so maybe we're even with Emily at
No,
this
no, no,
point.
no, no. That was pretty
Yeah.
close. That was a hard question.
Too humble.
It
I
was a
swear.
question.
You did so good. You did really, really good. Not many people would like got
Thank
the
you.
Buonarroti, so like good job on that one.
Kahoot games worked.
Do you
All
play
the
a lot of
Kahoot games. Yeah, in school, because like in language classes, in any class, especially in high school, they make us like play a lot of Kahoots actually. So
Really?
maybe that's yeah.
You got your knowledge from that. Nice. You see, Chad,
A
to be
general
smarter,
culture
you
from
have to
there,
do
yeah.
that. My general knowledge usually is horrible. Well, thank you so much for playing, both of you. I appreciate you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you for arranging
Thank
everything,
you so much for
G.
inviting us.
Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank
You
you for being part
too.
of
Bye
the
bye.
Bye.
Chad, send them love. Thank you. Bye.
Much love, chat. Thank you
Bye.
for voting. Oh sevens.
Oh, nice, chat. Oh, nice. Let me close this thing finally. Oh my god. Computer survived. We had some issues, but computer survived. Wait, let me put. Where is Limbodi? Limbodi. Oh, I have to put it here. This is good. Okay, there we go. Limboni is the actual winner. How many points did you get? Chat, did you like it? It was rigged. Come on, she's winning and she's saying it's rigged. Take it. Be competitive. You win fair and square. You're smarter. You're smarter, or like you're luckier. That's also a good. Or like you take smarter like choices. That's like smarter guesses. That's also cool. That's also a good thing to do. Oh, Maxwell! Max, thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate you. Holy fucking shit, where are the alerts? Alerts, where are you? Why you're not showing alerts? Thank you so much! Max, thank you so much for the 5 gifted, I appreciate you. That's so dumb, you lost and you're gifting out. The fuck. Ashkelon, thank you for the gifted one. To Limonify! Oh. Oh, we have a train! We have a train. Ashkelon, thank you for the gifted. Limonify, thank you for the gifted. Shit, that's really not needed. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for participating. I really, really appreciate you for. Chat. If you haven't yet, please go check everyone's YouTube or Instagrams out, because they're working hard and like they spend their Sunday with us, and I generally appreciate them for taking their time for this. It was stressing as a something, but it's been lovely. Thank you for being here, by the way. Also, did you like it, chat? Did you like the Dambos games? Do you think that it's something that I should bring back? I will bring it. I think that I want to bring them back in. Thank you, Lizzie. I think I want to bring it back in a more organized way for sure. I hope you got points. It was fun. I'm happy you had fun. I need to bring them back, really? Wait, I don't see that. I don't see that. Wait. Maxwell, thank you for the $10 for the mods. Mods go eat. No, not every Sunday. Not every Sunday. Maxwell, thank you for the 10 to the mods. I appreciate you for it. I really do. Holy fucking shit. Stop it. Stop it. Limonify, thank you for that. Stop it. Thank you for that. We need 7 more episodes for Champions Finals. I definitely want to bring that. Thank you for that. Yeah, Limoni, for sure, in the future, if chat really likes it, I would love to do it you at the end of 8 episodes, we're gonna have the finals, the big old finals. Gee, that was a whole lot of fun. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, for real. Let me put the train in a better spot. Wait, this is so fucked up. Wait, meow. Why are you meowing? You can go eat. Enjoy your food. Enjoy your food, Ari. Thank you for the pats. I really hope you I really like this. It was very good. Oh, thank you, Hank. Were you actually watching all of it? I appreciate you for being here. Angela, good job to you. Good job to you, Angela. But when I'll have the better computer, maybe this wheel is gonna be better. Thank you for the meows. Welcome back, Laura Meows. Let me put the train back on his trails. There we go. We got to the goal? Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. No, Lizzie, no. Okay, listen. We have to put a specific kind of a rule. If you're participating in the game, you cannot gift subs. If you're participating to the game, you're not gifting subs. Alright? Not doing that. Here, Lizzie, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. I genuinely appreciate you so fucking much. Thank you for being such a sweet soul. Chat, I'm really happy you liked it. I think this could be fun. Imagine if I can do this in a cooler place, not my room, but I'm thinking in the future, this can become a place, this can become a format where we go in a studio, and maybe even if they're not there present, maybe we can have them in a better way. I don't know. I think that. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. I wanna upgrade it, this one, but on iPads. Oh, iPads, I'm in. On iPads dummies or okay. CO Gang Studios, that would be so fucking fun. That would be so fun. But I'm really, really happy you liked it. I know that there are some things that I have to fix, how is it called? For you, in diretta da CO Gang Studios, I know that, for example, the overlay for you, it was a little bit of a pain because it was covering a lot of people, right? But I cannot change them. I don't know if I can do my own. I think that making it for my own, that would be a bit complicated. A bit, very much complicated, I think. Making a new, I would have to understand how to make extensions on there. No? Okay. Also because Ank understood that I was thinking about him. Ank understood I was talking about him. It's like, no. No. Is Coming Home, is that the song that is playing right now? But wait, stream crashed only one time. Stream crashed only one time. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's complex. It's very complex, isn't it? But you can write to the developer. It's not difficult fix. I told them. They said it's not possible. They said that it's not possible. Something that I was thinking about is what we can do is like we could do these like trivia all together without like players all the time. Like every once in a month there could be also like other players and you chat also play, but we can also have just the like a 50 questions and we all answer together to the question. Mine about capitals of countries, and I think that made me win. Thank you, YouTube. Oh, one, Rico. It was Limonify, the one that just highlighted the message under you. That's the one. Was not possible. Not possible to change to have the overlay to change it as I wanted to. My Instagram link does not work. Are you joking? The one in my stories does not work. Did I fucked it up? No, I did not. You scared me. You scared the shit out of me. No. You're saying here. That one should work. Oh, you're talking the one here. Yeah, never mind. I better start contacting the next participants. Thank you, Kevin, for not making me stress. You can build your overlay around it, I guess. A bit of a pain. True, I could, but then you would have to like. I don't know. It's just not a priority. Yeah, but it's not a priority for them. Sure that it is. That's true. That's true. Very true. But I don't know. We can definitely work on it. We definitely can work on it for sure. Build your overlay around this. Thank you, Jeff, for that. Thank you. But you know what? Actually, cool. If you're working a lot with like on your computer and with a lot of data, that might be an issue because you have to save the data and be safe. Use NordVPN and the link that you find in chat too if you wanna be safe with your data. There we go. Another perfect ad. Another perfect one. Wait, I feel that there's something wrong with these things. Anyway. But like, for example, like what we can do in the future, it's like, where is it? Where is everything? Oh, here. What we can do in the future is, we can have the entire quiz kit. Ready-made quizzes, and like general trivia, and we can have 10 questions already done. And points. Star quiz. Like for this, we can have like these ones. And we can answer together to the questions, right? Like, let me wait, how do I add? Add existing. It's called quiz, I think. I cannot find it. By the way, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support with the train. I appreciate you. I really, really do. Where is quiz? I cannot find it. Where is it? I was sure I had it. Quiz flex. Oh, flexes were that thing. Oh, never mind. I fucked up. Anyway. Never mind. We are not playing the game. We're not playing the quiz. We're not playing the quiz. Oh. I'm available for jobs. I want to have a job for NordVPN. NordVPN is better than no VPN. True. If there was an entire popcorn game, I'd crash it. I was so shocked about it. We still need to talk about your keyboard. True. I would love to have a discussion about it. I'm using the wrong. Listen. Today I couldn't find them again, so I just rushed and just got this one. So I didn't want to be too late. Time for a nap? For my nap? Most probably. Chat. Today it was a test for this whole thing. And I genuinely appreciate you for being here today for the Dumbo's games. If you have anything, any remark, any question at all, any whatever you have in your mind, anything, all right? I would love to hear about it. Tomorrow we are going to be playing Test Dumbos. No, it's a test, but like it's the first one, so it was a test, but we also tried hard. Make the next quiz even more rigged. I would love to find like we will find a solution. Like I want to make it like easier for everyone to understand and to also manage. I think that would be very, very nice. Okay. Here. We're gonna go here. Hi Ruperta, hello. I wanted to like, if you have any feedbacks, anything, like whatever the fuck came into your mind, whatever, all right? It could be like, I didn't like the colors, I didn't like the font, it could be anything stupid, anything. I would love to have your inputs so then I can make this better for all of us, because it's not like, it will be better for you two to watch, right? Because I feel like this can have potential, but we have to work on it together, right? Because I don't see it from your side and you know better than I do. And you know how much I value your own inputs, right? So whatever comes to your mind, whatever idea you have, even crazy, like you should be streaming this from the moon. That would be lovely. You'll watch the VOD and let you know. Nice, thank you. You can watch the VODs, all of them in an easier way, I think, on YouTube. You can find them all there. You can give me feedbacks. All of my DMs are all open. Twitter, Instagram, Discord, everywhere. My DMs are open. You didn't like the presenter? Shut up. Okay, thank you, JJ. I appreciate you for doing that. The presenter was a bit shitty. Shut up, Carlo. Can people still sign in for future episode of the Dumbo's games? Yes, I'm gonna put out the new form for the Dumbo's games. I think that is still the same. You can still use the same one. A bit more volume compared to most streamers. Your sound is low. My sound, my microphone is low. Really? Shit. Is it? Oh, why is it? Okay. Thank you for reminding me that. I have to. But has it been the entire day or just now? Get a professional host? No. What I want to do tonight, I think I'm gonna try, like, you know that I have the Go XLR, and I haven't set it up because I'm very scared of fucking up stuff. But you know what? I'm not scared of anything anymore. I've been dealing with the streaming without a freaking computer, almost, without a GPU. We stream with a computer going full crazy mode. You know what? And on Tuesday, I'm gonna be changing the computer. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna be testing shit out. So tonight, I'm gonna be actually with the help of Enk. So thank you, Enk. Thank you so much for being such a helpful person. Because apparently Go XLR needs a microphone, has like this big, huge cable. So I'm gonna be changing from this microphone to this one that Enk lended me to see if it works. And from tomorrow, I'm gonna be using this cool shit here. Let me see if I can show it to you. I can actually remove it for a little bit. This cool shit here. You know the one that all the streamers have? With the addition of this one that says remove protection film that I don't know how to remove. But the Canon cable, that one. So from this one, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna hear what you're hearing, and we're gonna do this and this and that and all of this shit and all of that. So we're gonna see. But my only concern is like when we're going for a focus mode, sometimes I don't want to hear your shit. Like sometimes I want you to hear things that I don't hear. So that's gonna be a problem. But what I like the most is like it sounds so cool. It's so cool. Like when we're talking, like all of that. I will have to find out a solution. I will find a solution for this. We'll see. We'll see. I feel like I can do it. You can guide me through it. Even like it's a little bit different from how you use it, I think, Enk, because in my situation, you always hear what chat is hearing. Sometimes I don't want to hear it because I'm working on something that has volume, so I don't want to hear the music, but we'll see. How to Twitch or hard Twitch? Yes. Anyway, chat, you don't want to hear some of the things that are in stream. Easy. Okay. How to hard Twitch. Anyway, chat, I think that today I'm gonna be rest for the rest of the day. It's been a short stream. It's been like a 3-hour stream. You don't use it, but it can be done. Okay, thank you. Sorry if this is gonna be a short streaming. I'm gonna be playing some Valorant, but I'll be playing that offline. I'm most probably gonna be on Discord. We're gonna be rating my old coach of Valorant. Thank you so fucking much for being here today. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the goal for this one. And also, we're gonna be watching the Lord of the Rings marathon. I have to change the goal. I'm sorry, I have to update all of that. But I appreciate you. I'm really, really happy you liked it. I promise I'll be making this one even better for the next time. I'll see you all tomorrow for working out together at... Shut up. Don't remind about that goal. I don't want you to remember that goal. But I'll see you all tomorrow. Lord of the Rings is going to be on 21st. We're going to be watching the first one on 21st on Discord. I love you so much, chat. I hope you had a beautiful Sunday. Thank you for being here. This has been like a bit stressful because again, it's out of my comfort zone. So thank you so much for being around during these times. I love you so much. Have a beautiful evening. Have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you, Costa, for being here. Have a beautiful Sunday. I'll see you all the next time. I'll see you all tomorrow. Love you. Love you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.